June 23, 2026. Houston, Texas. A moment that will be etched in football history forever. Cristiano Ronaldo steps onto the pitch, and within 90 minutes he does something that no player has ever done in the history of the World Cup. He scores. Not just any goal, but a brace that makes him the first player ever to score at 6 different World Cups. Portugal wins 5-0. History is made. And today I'm going to break down exactly how this happened, what it means, and why this performance could signal something massive for the rest of the tournament. What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're covering every single moment of this historic World Cup 2026. Now let's talk about what just happened in Houston. Portugal absolutely dominated Uzbekistan with a 5-0 victory in their Group K match. Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice, breaking yet another record, and the entire team looked like a well-oiled machine. But here's the question, what does this performance actually tell us? Is Portugal a legitimate title contender? And what can we learn from this match tactically? Let's break it all down. First, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Cristiano Ronaldo. At this stage in his career, many players would be winding down, enjoying their final seasons, maybe playing a reduced role. But not Ronaldo. In this match against Uzbekistan he scored 2 goals, bringing his World Cup goal tally to a number that very few players have ever reached. But here's what makes this truly historic. He is now the first player in the history of the FIFA World Cup to score at 6 different World Cup tournaments. Think about that for a second. 6 World Cups. That's from 2006 in Germany all the way to 2026 in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. That's 20 years of elite football at the highest level. That's consistency that we may never see again. Whether you're a Portugal fan, a Ronaldo fan, or just a fan of football in general, you have to appreciate what this man has accomplished. He's not just playing in World Cups, he's making history in every single one of them. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this World Cup coverage and want more tactical breakdowns like this, hit subscribe right now. We're covering every match, every story from this tournament. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Alright, let's get into the match. Now let's talk about the match itself. Portugal versus Uzbekistan in Houston. Final score, 5-0 to Portugal. Now, I want to be very clear here. Uzbekistan deserves immense respect. They qualified for the World Cup, which is an achievement that very few nations ever accomplish. They showed up, they competed, and they represented their country with pride. Football is a game where sometimes the better team on the day wins, and that's what happened here. Portugal came out with incredible intensity from the first whistle. They controlled possession, they moved the ball quickly, and they created chance after chance. The midfield was absolutely dominant, with players linking up beautifully and finding spaces in the Uzbekistan defense. João Cancelo was particularly impressive, providing assists and creating opportunities from the back. Bruno Fernandes was pulling the strings in midfield, dictating the tempo and finding those killer passes. Ronaldo's first goal was a classic poacher's finish, positioning, anticipation, and clinical finishing. His second goal showed that even at this stage in his career, he still got that explosive movement, that ability to lose his marker and get on the end of a cross. And the other goals? Rafael Leo got on the scoresheet, showing his pace and finishing ability. The team looked cohesive, organized, and dangerous in every phase of play. But here's what I want you to notice. This wasn't just about individual brilliance. This was a team performance. The defense was solid, the midfield controlled the game, and the attack was clinical. When a team performs like this, it sends a message to every other team in the tournament. We are here and we are ready. Now let's get into the tactical side of things. What made this performance so dominant? I want to break down 3 key tactical elements that stood out. First, midfield control. Portugal's midfield was absolutely exceptional. They won the ball back quickly, they distributed it efficiently, and they maintained possession for long periods. When you control the midfield, you control the game. Uzbekistan tried to press high at times, but Portugal's midfielders were comfortable on the ball, they moved into spaces, and they found solutions under pressure. This is the mark of a top-tier team, the ability to dominate the center of the pitch and dictate the tempo. Second, width and overloads. Portugal used the full width of the pitch beautifully. The fullbacks pushed high, the wingers stayed wide, and this created overloads in wide areas. When you stretch the defense horizontally, you create gaps in the middle. And that's exactly what happened. Uzbekistan's defense had to spread out to cover the width, which left spaces in central areas for Portugal's attacking midfielders to exploit. This is tactical discipline at its finest. Third, clinical finishing. Perhaps the most impressive aspect was Portugal's efficiency in front of goal. They didn't waste chances. When they got into scoring positions, they converted. 5 goals from a manageable number of shots shows incredible composure and quality. In knockout football, you don't always get dozens of chances, you have to take the ones you get. And Portugal showed they can do exactly that. Now, I want to emphasize something important. Uzbekistan played with dignity and fought until the final whistle. They didn't give up, they didn't lose their composure, and they represented their nation with pride. That's what the World Cup is all about, nations coming together, competing at the highest level and showing the world what they're capable of. Portugal was simply the better team on the day, and they deserve credit for their performance. Quick question for you guys. Which tactical element impressed you most? Midfield control, width, or clinical finishing? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. Alright, let's talk about what this means for Portugal. So what does this result mean for Portugal's World Cup campaign? Let's look at the bigger picture. First, this is a massive confidence booster. Winning your opening matches in a World Cup is crucial. It sets the tone, it builds momentum, and it gives the team belief. Portugal now knows they can dominate a match, they can score goals, and they can control the game. That psychological advantage is priceless in a tournament setting. Second, this shows tactical flexibility. Portugal didn't just win, they won in different ways. They scored from open play, they scored from crosses, they scored from midfield runs. This shows they have multiple attacking threats, which makes them very difficult to defend against. Opposing teams won't know what's coming, and that's a huge advantage. Third, this sends a message to the rest of the tournament. When you win 5-0 in a World Cup match, other teams take notice. They watch the footage, they analyze the performance, and they realize, this team is serious. Portugal has announced themselves as legitimate contenders, and that changes the dynamics of the entire tournament. But here's the thing, Portugal can't get complacent. The World Cup is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be tougher opponents, there will be challenging matches, and there will be moments when things don't go as planned. The mark of a great team is how they respond to adversity. Portugal has shown they can win convincingly, now they need to show they can win when it's difficult. Now, let's zoom out and look at what this means for the tournament as a whole. This match is a perfect example of why the World Cup is so special. You have a football powerhouse like Portugal, with world-class players and decades of footballing tradition, facing a nation like Uzbekistan, which is making its mark on the world stage. Both teams deserve to be there. Both teams have worked incredibly hard to qualify. And when they meet, you get a fascinating contrast in styles, resources, and experience. Uzbekistan's presence in the World Cup is a testament to the growth of football globally. More nations are competing at the highest level, more players are getting opportunities, and the game is becoming truly global. That's something to celebrate. Every team that qualifies has a story, every player has a journey, and every match is an opportunity to inspire millions back home. For Portugal, this victory is a statement of intent. They're not just here to participate, they're here to compete for the trophy. With players like Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, João Cancelo, and Rafael Leo, they have the quality to go all the way. But football is unpredictable, and anything can happen in the knockout stages. That's what makes it beautiful. So there you have it, a complete breakdown of Portugal's historic 5-0 victory over Uzbekistan. Cristiano Ronaldo makes history, the team delivers a dominant performance, and Portugal announces themselves as serious contenders in this World Cup. But I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, do you think Portugal can go all the way and win the World Cup? And what did you think of Ronaldo's record-breaking performance? I read every single comment and I'll be replying to as many as I can. If you enjoyed this analysis, smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our World Cup coverage. We're breaking down every match, every moment, every story from this historic tournament. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.